Good morning and welcome to Unfiltered Vision News, bringing you the news unfiltered Monday through Friday, 7 to 9 a.m. Eastern. My name is Dr. Ashaki Noni Nichols, and I will be your host, coming to you live from Facebook, YouTube, and X. So we have a lot of news to get into this morning. Before we get started, we're going to go into our Kids Corner.
Nicholson wakes up ready for a new day, but he wonders, how can he make the biggest impact today? Seeing Mrs. Green struggling, Nicholson offers to help, knowing small acts can make a big difference. In class, Nicholson advises his group to focus on the most important part of their project first. During the match, Nicholson rallies his team, emphasizing teamwork over flashy moves. At dinner, Nicholson listens to his mom's concerns and suggests a practical solution. Before bed, Nicholson reflects on his choices, proud of focusing on what truly mattered. Nicholson stands ready, excited to focus on high-impact actions for the day ahead. Big impacts come from focusing on what matters most. Choose wisely, act boldly, and make every moment count.
Yes, and those are for our younger listeners. And thank to you guys for listening in this morning with your parents. I hope you get some education from the videos that I play and some of the information that is shared. And so the next thing we're going to get into is honoring God with our body. So God, please guard our mind and thoughts. God, help me to fix my thoughts on what is true and honorable and right and pure and lovely and admirable, so I will think about things that are excellent and worthy of praise. God, please protect my ears and help me listen to your voice. God, help me to be quick to listen, slow to speak, and slow to become angry. God, please protect my eyes from sin's damage. God, I make a covenant with my eyes not to look lustfully. God, please speak life over my mouth. God, set a guard over my mouth. Lord, keep watch over the doors of my lips. God, help my hands to serve generously. God, help me to do good to everyone and especially to those who belong to our family in the faith. God, please help me to honor you with purity. God, please help me to honor you with my body. And God, please protect our feet as we walk along God's path. God, let your word be a lamp for my feet and a light on my path. So just our daily prayer for this morning. I hope everybody is having a wonderful Wednesday. And today is our Women in Wellness Wednesday. So if there's anyone out there that would like to join the show, it is open mic. Just let me know and I can go ahead and send you a mic or email it to you. And that email is unfilteredvisionnews@gmail.com. That is unfilteredvisionnews@gmail.com. And I look forward to hearing from you guys and just look forward to um, listening to how this news is impacting you. And it's kind of interesting because when I wake up in the morning, sometimes I'm putting together like last minute clips and everything. I was like, well, what happened while I closed my eyes, right? What happened while I was sleeping? Oh my goodness. So apparently, this video by Ilhan Omar, it is just like set the world on fire because like, what? What? Okay. So the video says it a lot better than me. Way better. So let's just check this out.
Congresswoman Ilhan Omar was giving her first town hall in her district in Minneapolis when suddenly this happened.
DHS Secretary Kristi Noem must resign or face impeachment.
And we're back, y'all. Thank you for watching today. Go ahead and hit that like button, my people. You know that it helps us out a ton. And of course, it helps you because it helps us keep bringing you these stories every day. Now, y'all, tonight there was a, I guess, scary moment for your girl, Ilhan Omar, as she was doing a town hall for her constituents in Minnesota. A person ran up in the audience and attacked her with some kind of liquid. He sprayed her with liquid, y'all, and the people in the crowd reacted predictably. They were afraid and concerned, but Ilhan Omar, curiously, after being sprayed with a mysterious liquid from an attacker is what it looks like, she decided she wanted to continue on with her town hall She didn't seem like she was concerned with her safety. She didn't seem like she was particularly concerned with the safety of anybody else around her after being sprayed with this mysterious liquid. She said she was going to continue on because she didn't want people to get away with this. I guess get away with stopping her from speaking. Now, some people online are claiming that this was all staged. Of course, I don't know what the heck is going on. I don't have any more information than anybody else. But we're going to do, y'all, we're going to take a look at a news report about this. You're going to see exactly what happened. You're going to see the aftermath. You're going to see what Ilhan Omar was talking about when this attacker came up to her and started dousing her with this mysterious liquid. Hint, she was talking about abolishing ICE and also getting rid of Kristi Noem right when this guy ran up on her and did his dirty deed. So without a long lead in, y'all, let's just go ahead and get into it. But before we do, y'all, you know that we are a paralegal school. If you've been watching our program now, you know that we've been around for 23 years. You know that we help people get going in the paralegal field. You know that we've helped hundreds of people since 2000. Let's go ahead and get into the story.
We do have some breaking news to tell you about right now. Congresswoman Ilhan Omar was giving her first town hall in her district in Minneapolis amid these ongoing tensions with ICE and Border Patrol. She was talking about Kristi Noem, rather, when suddenly this happened.
And DHS Secretary Kristi Noem must resign or face impeachment. I don't know. Oh my God, he sprayed something on her. I need a napkin to know nothing. No. You need to go get checked. No, we will continue this. I'm not going to get away with it. You need to go get checked. No, you don't know what. That's whatever it is smells so bad. She needs to go get checked. I don't know what that was. That's what they want. Please don't let them have it.
Now, you know what's interesting? She's like, it smells so bad. Like when I'm around things that smell bad, I usually like I'll cover my nose or my mouth, or I may have to walk away from the person because it's like, I'm recoiling. They keep walking towards her, but she smells so bad. So I just wanted to point that out. Obviously, it's not that bad.
About him, Ilhan.
Abolishment of the agency. ICE cannot be reformed. It cannot be rehabilitated. We must abolish ICE for good. And DHS Secretary Kristi Noem must resign or face impeachment. I don't know.
Oh my God, he sprayed something on her.
I need a napkin to know nothing. No, we will continue.
No. Ilhan, you need to go get checked. No,
we will continue. These fucking assholes are not going to get away with it.
you need to go get checked. No, you don't know what. That's whatever it is smells so bad. She needs to go get checked. I don't know
that's
what that was.
That's what they want. Please don't let them have it.
It's not about him, Ilhan. It's not about him. It's about your safety. No, he sprayed something on you. You need to go get checked. Yeah, and it smells terrible.
We're going to keep talking. Just give me 10 minutes. Just give me 10 minutes. I beg you. Please don't let them have the show. Please don't let them have the show. Please don't let them have the show. Here is the reality that people like this ugly man don't understand. We are Minnesota strong, and we will stay resilient in the face of whatever they might throw at us.
Again, whatever was sprayed on her, it didn't smell that bad that people actually left because of the smell. It didn't seem like it was making anybody sick to their stomach, which is good. You know what I'm saying? Like, because we don't know we don't know if it was water. It definitely wasn't acid, right? Because if it was, it would have burnt her through her clothing or something like that. But we just don't know what type of substance may have been in that liquid thus far.
Everybody settle down. I'm going to finish my remarks. It is important for me to continue to lead my Democratic colleagues in demanding her resignation.
Okay, so obviously there was a lot of chaos in that moment. You heard some bad language. We apologize for that. But basically what it looks like here is that a man from the audience charged at Congresswoman Omar when she was talking about Secretary Kristi Noem, and then seemed to try and spray some kind of substance on her. And important to note, we have no idea what that substance was right now. It could be any number of things, but this happened roughly 15 minutes ago as this news conference was being live streamed. Officials are encouraging the town hall to end out of safety concerns, saying, you could see the man had said, and the people around her telling her that she had been sprayed with something. But right now, Ilhan Omar insisting that she continue this. The man, we are told, was apprehended, and the town hall is still ongoing right now as she addresses her constituents in a place obviously fraught with a lot of unrest, in a place that has been really the focus of the entire country. So it remains to be seen what this person will be charged with, if anything, what that substance was. It does seem, for all intents and purposes, that Congresswoman Omar is okay and continuing on.
So when you're sprayed with a mysterious liquid, yeah, I'm glad that she's okay, y'all. I mean, I know a lot of people who watch this channel and other similar channels. I know y'all are not the biggest fans of Omar, but I've always said I don't want to see anybody get hurt. I think we should be able to fight it out politically, fight it out philosophically, debate it out, vote it out, do all the things that we have to do that don't involve getting violent, y'all. So let me know, when you watch this, does this look like something that might have been staged? Y'all, if you go on X, everybody's saying this is staged, y'all. I mean, I'm not gonna say everybody, but a whole lot of people are saying, yo, this is something that Omar and or people around her have done to gain sympathy for her cause. Again, just telling you what people are saying. I don't have any information.
Right. And I mean, I was just taking a quick look on X, and apparently somebody is saying, like, it looks like she prompted him. So, if we were to go back through the video where she's making her initial remarks and she kind of glances and literally blinks at him when they focus in on that. And I'm like, okay. But again, they're going to investigate who this individual was, because they did get a clear shot of his face, right? Is he, we don't know. Allegedly, could he be one of the paid protesters, right? Could he be somebody who's been at other protests, right? Have they investigated that? Because, man, I'm telling you, on X, we've got some news hounds. I'm just saying, we've got some gumshoes, and they will find you. Okay. If they've got a face, a body, and everything's like not from the back of the head, they will find who you are, where you work, where you had dinner last night. Like, look, they're going to find you, gentlemen, whoever did this. But I find it really interesting because you don't see police coming to arrest them. So maybe they just did this really quietly off to the side. Because the only vantage points that they're really showing are the C-SPAN vantage points. I guess somebody must have had some cell phone footage, and then there were some other outlets there. There were other outlets there. Interesting, for a town hall meeting, C-SPAN was there. C-SPAN usually aren't at all town halls, so I'm wondering why they were at this one. I'm just saying. Like, why were you there? It was that important that C-SPAN needed to be at a town hall? Okay. All right. I'm not going to speculate too much into it, but I just find it interesting that C-SPAN. What are you doing at a town hall meeting in Minnesota? I don't care if it is Ilhan Omar. What are you doing at a town hall meeting in Minnesota? Did they know something was going to happen that they needed to catch on camera from different vantage points? Well, I'm sure they'll investigate it and they will find out. So on to our next article, I came across this one, and this one was actually on InfoWars. And it's the video with Benny Johnson that's been circulating, definitely. But it also has another video of Keith Ellison. And he says some very interesting things. And I want to say the video was taken right before he became the Attorney General in Minnesota. Okay. Right.
Just investigated Ilhan Omar's official financial disclosures, and what I found was so dark and criminal. I don't know how she gets out of this without going to jail. Have a look at this. Here's Ilhan Omar's financial disclosure from the Congressional Record, year 2023. I want to bring your attention to this company right down here, Est Crew LLC. This is a winery in Santa Rosa, California. It's not doing that well. The total value of the winery is listed at $15,000, and Ilhan Omar's barely making any money off of it at all. Hardly enough to pay a parking ticket. Okay, that's fine. Nothing really mysterious there. Businesses fail all the time. But go ahead and look at her filing for 2024, and you'll find that Est Crew Winery, the same company in the same location, is now worth $5 million. That's incredible, up from $15,000. And now Ilhan Omar's making enough to pay rent. So this must be one of the most successful companies ever.
The Saturday in America team just uncovered new sound. We've been monitoring Somali TV. Our producer, Jay Kaz, and back in 2014, then Congressman Ellison authored the Money Remittances Improvement Act, which streamlined the process for immigrants to send money overseas. And Ellison said that the goal was to keep the money flowing to Somalia.
Many banks have been dropping out of helping to do the transaction between the United States and Somalia. So I wanted to work on the Somali side of the equation to try to see what we could do to make sure that we move those transactions along.
Ilhan Omar put on her taxes that she went from getting into Congress 6 years ago from zero money, they're $44, sorry, to $30 million. Now, it turns out her husband's got even more money, and he didn't have any. Not her brother, she got remarried. The second husband. Now, you know with these fraudsters that I'll assure you they're not reporting all their money. So if her and her husband have got around $80 million.
Now, technically, he's the third. Okay, because we went not over this on the show. So her first husband, who's the father of her children, that was a spiritual marriage. Then she allegedly married her brother. She was married to him for about 7 years, divorced him, then remarried officially the first husband that she had children with. And now she's married to Mr. Minette. That's the third official husband on record. So that's how it went. There was only 3 men. There's only 3 marriages, but technically there's a spiritual marriage in there. But she married that person on record. So just to clear the air.
Dollars that they just magically found. You know it's a lot more than that. So here's an article about it. How the company started a year ago with $1.2 million. Guess how much it made last year? Well, Benny Johnson went and got the latest numbers, so those numbers are old. And wait until you hear how much money she magically made, even though you can check the records. There's no business, there's no wine, there's no grapes. There's nothing, just like all the other businesses. So where are they making the money? That's the money laundering. Is, oh, this hamburger place makes all this money, but it's not even open. And you simply flood the money she's getting from other people where she gets a cut into it. So now she's under DOJ investigation. But notice, again, it's citizen journalist, the great Benny Johnson, who goes and digs into it, and we'll show it to you on screen, and then what do we find? But don't look for Ellison, the Attorney General of the state, to do anything, because he's been recorded when Somalis were already under investigation a few years ago saying, don't worry, I'll kill these investigations. And that's why on the sides of their businesses, their leering centers, they put the phone number to the governor or to the attorney general. So when inspectors from the city or county come, or maybe the feds, they say, you know what? Call the governor. Call Ellison. That is their arrogance of these people. Because they're just the bagmen. So here's Benny Johnson's report.
I just investigated Ilhan Omar's official financial disclosures, and what I found was so dark and criminal. I don't know how she gets out of this without going to jail. Have a look at this. Here's Ilhan Omar's financial disclosure from the Congressional Record, year 2023. I want to bring your attention to this company right down here, Est Crew LLC. This is a winery in Santa Rosa, California. It's not doing that well. The total value of the winery is listed at $15,000, and Ilhan Omar's barely making any money off of it at all. Hardly enough to pay a parking ticket. Okay, that's fine. Nothing really mysterious there. Businesses fail all the time. But go ahead and look at her filing for 2024, and you'll find that Est Crew Winery, the same company in the same location, is now worth $5 million. That's incredible, up from $15,000. And now Ilhan Omar's making enough to pay rent. So this must be one of the most successful companies ever. Let's go ahead and check in on this winery. You know, maybe we could buy some wine. I like wine. Why not? Let's see if we can buy some Est Crew Winery. Here's Est Crew's social media Facebook page. You'll see here that the last post, oh no, was in 2023. Wasn't this the year that they were supposed to, go really big and make Ilhan Omar millions of dollars? Same thing on their Instagram, and they don't have an X. So let's go ahead and check their official website. What is Est Crew? We are winemakers and memory curators. Okay, Est Crew Winery has a bunch of brands that's led by these people, creators of eye-catching labels. So I'm sure I can go and get some of their wine, right? Well, they don't have any activities here, so maybe I could just go to their location and buy some of their wines, or maybe give them a call. Let's try and go to their location here. This is the Google Street View of Est Crew Winery, and what you'll find here is an empty parking lot. Doesn't actually look like an operational business. Certainly isn't the same name. So, okay, let's go ahead and give them a call. See if maybe they pick up. Let's go ahead and call the number on the webpage. Let's go ahead and give them a call and find out. Oh no, user busy.
And there's the number. You can call it too.
Well, I've done this like 20 times today.
No, it doesn't work.
Okay, so that didn't work.
But it just made $6 million last year.
Wine? In this wine company? Is there anything about wines? Because I see like stuff about events, but like, what is this exactly? Aren't you supposed to sell wine at your wine company? Where are your wines? Oh, there are no wines. You want to know why? Because this is a fake company. Rep. Ilhan Omar's husband accused of swindling investors in their California winery. They stole millions from cannabis growers. You can see here's the lawsuit right here, saying that Tim Minette, who's Ilhan Omar's third husband, relation, swindled his investors and defrauded them. How did Minette get this relationship? Well, the current Attorney General of Minnesota, Keith Ellison, he used to work for him. Isn't that curious? Keith Ellison, the same guy who refuses to look into any of the Somali fraud. So this company was sued for being a fraudulent company. And the New York Post says the exact same thing, as the House is now probing the mystery of Ilhan Omar's skyrocketing wealth. They said that Ilhan Omar went from being one of the poorest members of Congress, worth negative $65,000, to being one of the richest, worth $30 million. Here's a rare photo of one of their wines that they allegedly made, The Devil's Lie. But the entire company is actually a lie. It's not a lie to Ilhan Omar, though.
Can't make that up.
To list an enormous amount of her income and an enormous amount of her net worth to this fake winery. This winery is not worth $5 million. The winery doesn't even exist. It's fake. It's fraudulent. They need to investigate this right now. This is a lie. And maybe Which maybe it's the devil's lie.
But in her filings, she's made all these millions and millions and millions, but there's nothing being sold because she has to say the money she's getting somewhere else is from that classic money laundering. And if you add in there another million in there, it's over 6 million actually. So, yeah. And they're going for broke, folks. And any state reps that vote against funding all these programs, they get shot at their house by a Tim Walz appointee, who then writes a letter to the public saying, no, I was there to kill them for Tim Walz to blame Republicans. I predicted it 4 days before it happened. I said, maybe on this No Kings protest, June 14th, maybe they'll kill Democrats and blame Trump. Oh, they did blame Trump. They blamed Trump and me. His roommate said he liked me and Trump. Sure, he did. Sure. So now let's go to this report. Fox News monitoring Somali television programming, and they unearthed new video from then Congressman and now Attorney General Keith Ellison and the city council candidate, now Mayor Jacob Fry, pledging allegiance to Somalia. Here it is.
The Saturday in America team just uncovered new sound. We've been monitoring Somali TV. Our producer, Jay Kaz, and back in 2014, then Congressman Ellison authored the Money Remittances Improvement Act, which streamlined the process for immigrants to send money overseas. And Ellison said that the goal was to keep the money flowing to Somalia.
Many banks have been dropping out of helping to do the transaction between the United States and Somalia. So I wanted to work on the Somali side of the equation to try to see what we could do to make sure that we move those transactions along.
Now, that's never been seen footage here on Fox News. And in that same interview, then Congressman Keith Ellison encouraged people to help Somalia any way they could.
Somalia needs everything. So whatever you can do, come do it. If you are good at music and art, write a song about Somalia. If you're good at writing newspaper articles, tell people about it. If you're good at internet stuff, help build the network and build the bandwidth of Somalia. If you're good at construction, build a building, come build a road. And if you can't do any of those things, give money to people who can do it. But do something.
And he's now the Attorney General of Minnesota here in the United States. We also unearthed an old interview of then City Council candidate Jacob Fry saying government officials need to help the Somali community thrive.
We're doing some phenomenal work with the Somali community right now, and we'd like to continue that. This is a community that is thriving, that's on the verge of absolutely amazing things, and we need to make sure we have government officials that are helping them along to make sure that not just they thrive, but the rest of our city thrives as well.
We asked both Ellison and Fry for comment, and we invited them to join us here on the show, and neither of them answered. But we are bringing those interviews to light for the very first time.
Well, there you go. There's a really excellent article.
And yes, that is Ellison with a book that says Antifa, the Anti-Fascist Handbook. That is not AI. That is not superimposed. That is him posing with a picture. They said Antifa wasn't a group. How do y'all have a handbook? How is there a handbook if you're not a group, if you're not organized? How is there a handbook if this is just an ideology? Yeah.
What are Dems hiding in Minnesota? Well, we know what they're hiding. We know exactly what they're doing. So the Justice Department for a few weeks has been investigating her. Why weren't they investigating her a year ago? I want action. Got a lot of fire under the Trump administration. Comment on Truth Social. Call the White House. Call your Congress people. Trump listens. He's just as pissed as you are, but he's got a lot going on. You got to keep this front and center. And Walz is heavily involved. Ellison, Fry, Omar. This is open and shut. And by the way, when you go to the YellowStoneStore.com, we actually have products for sale that are in stock, unlike their $6 million winery they say they got money from, and there's no wine sold for years on it. And there's no one available to distributors or anybody else. Again, it's so ridiculous. Now investigators have gone to hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of so-called businesses in Ohio and Texas and Michigan and Wisconsin and Minnesota and Oregon and Washington State and New York that are Somali-owned, and there's never anybody there. There's never children, never medical workers. Most of the time it's a P.O. box, raking in millions a year. Fraud on top of lies, on top of scams. It's incredible.
And usually, in my opinion, when things are going that way, it's because there's somebody, again, on the inside making sure that the money is flowing. So, am I accusing the government of covering this up? I'm just going to allege that those with the ability to be fixers, we'll just say that, have fixed this. Because nobody goes from zero to millions. Like, I could see if there was a settlement that was reached and then you just got this settlement, right? I mean, that's fair if you got a settlement. But there's no mention of a settlement. It says your business. Your business stopped posting in 2023? That's odd. And it made $5 million? And there's no product on the website? That's odd. Like, again, what's happening? And you don't want to tell us, you don't want to share it with us. So, okay, I did a little bit of digging. So her husband is listed as the manager of this Est Crew LLC. It is a California-based winery. And the company was formed in 2020. So the oddity is how soon it dropped. But what happened in 2020? Oh, yeah. Yeah, we were all locked in our houses and people were getting PPP loans. That happened. Just saying. People got millions of dollars. Is that where the money could have come from? I don't know. So William Hallier serves as both manager and chief executive officer of the same company, making him a direct business partner of Minette in this venture. Now, Lucas Noble acts as the registered agent of S-Crew, handling its operational and compliance matters from an address in San Luis Obispo. And you're probably wondering, like, who are those people? Well, I did a little bit more digging because that's who I am. That's what I do all day long. I get off of here and then I want to dig everywhere, you guys, and just find everything. But let me see if I've got some bookmarks from yesterday. So basically, I did a online business search of this particular business because I wanted to find out, like, okay, well, what is this business? Can we look into it and find out what's going on? So Est Crew, and it comes up, and then just viewed the history. So that's where I got the information for these two gentlemen. So as you can see here, hopefully you guys can see it. Let me make this a little bit bigger. So William Hallier here, I guess it changed from him to Lucas. And that was changed in 22, that changeover, right? But it is showing that the initial filing was in 2020. It does show that they have an active status. So this isn't a company that's in default, because normally when a company isn't still functioning as a quote unquote legitimate company, especially in California, because you do have to pay your annual fees every year, or, however you want to do it. Some people pay, 3 to 5 years out, depending on what they're doing. Their statement of info due date was about 2 years ago now, in July of 2024. But yeah, that's their business. And so I just wanted to show you that, okay, they do legitimately have an LLC, and that's where these names come from. Now, Omar herself has no direct operational role in S-Crew, but has reported spousal assets and income tied to the company on her congressional financial disclosures, with valuations ranging from $15,000 to $50,000 in 2023 and $1 million to $5 million in 2024. That's what, oh goodness, Benny Johnson referred to in his video. Now, Minette and Hollier have collaborated on other businesses beyond S-Crew, including the political consulting firm East Street Group. Okay, so that's something else going on, which received nearly $3 million from Omar's campaigns prior to 2021, and Roselake Capital, a venture capital firm. So those are two other businesses that her spouse is involved in. I didn't see those on her report, so we would have to go back and look at that financial report and see if those are listed, right? Because you got to list everything. If you're going to list S-Crew, you've got to list these other ones, but you guys weren't together during the campaign, but you did date during the campaign because he was actually married to somebody else, and so was Ilhan Omar. We'll leave that there, and we'll continue on. Now, Noble's role appears limited to serving, because that's distracting, as a registered agent for S-Crew and several other entities, with no reported direct business partnership with Omar or Minette beyond that capacity. So public records and reports also note ongoing lawsuits against Minette and Hollier, alleging investor fraud related to S-Crew and associated ventures in wine and cannabis, though these do not directly implicate Omar or Noble. So I asked, can you pull information on the lawsuits, like what's going on? So the winery lawsuit, parties involved are the plaintiff, Naeem Maud, a Washington, D.C. area restaurant owner, and defendants are Minette, Hallier, and the S-Crew group. So in the fall of 2021, Mahad invested $300,000 in S-Crew after promises from Minette and Hollier of a 200% return, totaling $900,000 within 18 months, plus 10% monthly interest on any delays. The investment was solicited through Faisal Gill, an attorney and mutual contact who had donated to Omar's campaign. So this is messy, just messy. Because you got to remember 2021, Minette and Omar, they weren't married yet. But there was a lot of nonsense going on, apparently. So the complaint alleges that Minette and Hallier fraudulently misrepresented S-Crew LLC was a legitimate company and failed to deliver, citing issues like unpaid employees and operational failures amid the COVID-19 pandemic. I told you. I was like, wait a minute. Y'all gonna blame this on the baby. I won't say the baby, the problem. You're gonna blame it on the pandemic. Okay. So Mahad received his principal back about a month late in 2023, but no profits or interest. So he basically just got his $300,000 back. So leading to the lawsuit filed in California Superior Court in fall of 2023, seeking at least $780,000 in damages for fraud, breach of contract, and related claims. So defenses Minette and Hollier denied fraud, attributing the venture's issues to industry challenges and the pandemic. Of course. They claimed the business was legitimate but struggled to scale. Y'all put together a bum website with a Facebook page, fake address, fake phone number. Come on. Stop that. But here's the thing. Are they really going to be investigated? Is anybody really going to go to jail? Because again, this was before they were married. So there were things that didn't need to be disclosed. That they didn't get married until 21. Okay. So anything he did prior to 21, that's not going to be reported or connected to Omar. It might be connected to her husband, but not Omar. But here's the thing, everything that happened after 21, you're on the hook for it. Where did the $30 million come from if this business has failed? Saying, and these lawsuits, by the way, are going on. So there was the cannabis lawsuit, and the plaintiffs, Dakota Natural Growers, Cannabis LLC, and individual investors, Larry Brady, on and on and on. And then the defendants are Hollier and Minette as Badlands Fund GP LLC and Badlands Ventures LLC. Okay. So in early 22, at this point, Ilhan is married to Minette. The plaintiffs invested approximately $3.5 million in South Dakota medical cannabis operations through Badland Ventures, solicited by Hollier. The complaint filed in Hennepin County District Court, Minnesota, in December of 22 alleges fraud, breach of contract, and misappropriation, claiming the defendants formed Badlands Venture in order to defraud plaintiffs by soliciting them for purported investments with the present intention of stealing and or misappropriating most of the money. Only partial funds were used for the businesses. Hollier returned $1.86 million in August of 22 after initial demands. Minette is mentioned as a co-founder of East Street Ventures, but not named as a defendant. He stated he left the company before the deal. Interesting. How were you? Okay. I'm gonna leave it alone. I did not look up that LLC, so we would just leave all of this as alleged. I'm just reading the complaint. Now, defenses, Hollier described it as a contract dispute and emphasized working toward an amicable resolution without admitting fraud. Outcome: in April of 2023, the parties agreed to a $1.7 million repayment. Hollier paid $500,000 by October of 23, leading to a confession of judgment for the remaining $1.2 million. The case fully settled in August of 24, where Hollier paying the $1.2 million. A related follow-up suit has filed in Nebraska to enforce the judgment, but it appears resolved with the final payment. So the connection to Omar, there's no direct involvement, but the case overlapped the scrutiny of Minette's business ties and Omar's disclosures. So it's weird because she had to disclose some of these things, even if they failed, because she was married to him. But we're still trying to figure out where this $30 million come from. Because if this business, the business failed within 2 years, they didn't even get up off the ground. The other one the same way. How are you making all this money? We need bank account receipts. We need deposits. We need bank account receipts. That's all I'm saying. So there's no other active lawsuits against Minette and Hollier appear in recent reports as of 26. In June of 24, the National Legal and Policy Center filed an ethics complaint against Omar with the House Ethics Committee, alleging she concealed or undervalued Minette's income from these ventures before their collapse. Okay, so in June of 24, Trump was not president. Okay, let's just point that out. He wasn't in office. She was being investigated. They filed a complaint with the ethics committee. That in the House. Yeah. And nothing's happened yet. So as of January 26th, the House Oversight Committee and federal authorities are investigating Omar's overall finances, including Minette's rapid wealth accumulation from consulting and ventures like Rose Lake Capital. Okay. Chairman James Comer has floated subpoenaing Minette, citing questions as to how her husband's accumulated so much wealth over the past 2 years. Federal probes also tie into broader fraud concerns in Minnesota, though Omar faces no direct accusations. Yeah, it's the overlap and the amounts. So I said, does she have any partnerships or investments? Apparently, she doesn't have any direct partnerships or investments with any businesses. The ones with her husband are S Crew, Rose Lake Capital, which was the capital management firm. Okay, now this may be where the money's coming from. Here, this venture capital firm, because it's definitely not coming from the other thing that they did, the whole hemp thing that he tried to partner with. So this is where, some of that money that they're talking about is coming from. And then none of it's reported, no reported income to Omar since the last filing. And it was co-founded by Minette, who serves as president. Again, no direct involvement of Omar. Yeah, there's no direct involvement. But now we got to look at this Rose Lake Capital and see how long it was in place, because there's money there. And then, of course, East Street Group, right, which was co-founded by Minette and Hollier. Okay. So these spousal holdings have contributed to estimates worth ranging from $6 million to $30 million in 2024, and she had to report them. Okay, compared to much lower figures like $40,000 to $250,000 in 2023. These rapid increases have drawn significant media attention, right? Ethics complaints and ongoing investigations by the House Oversight Committee. And here's my thing. Okay, are you really gonna do anything? I think that's the bigger question. Are you really going to do anything? So I said, with those losses in these businesses, how is there any net value? Is there where okay, I'm sorry, I was typing too fast. I think what I meant to say is, were there any questions, right? So the reported losses from lawsuits and settlements involving Minette's businesses such as S Crew and related ventures do not necessarily eliminate net value, but the sharp increases in their disclosed valuations, despite these setbacks, have indeed fueled significant questions and investigations. Okay. So that's kind of what I was looking at. I was like, it just seems like everything he touched that was a product failed, but the consulting is making you money, right? That's where the money is. Like this whole Rose Lake Capital thing, that's making money. Yeah, it's got growth and revaluations. So I think people need to look into what this is more than anything. Let me ask. Okay, let's get some more information on Rose Lake Capital. I'm just saying, while we're here. Because what's going on? Because that's where the bulk of the money is coming from. It's not coming from this S Crew, whatever that is. So Rose Lake Cap is a venture capital management firm, co-founded in 2022. Okay, so that's definitely after you guys got married. Okay. The business describes itself as, on its website, roselakecap.com, as focusing on unique global opportunities, leveraging deep global networks from work in over 80 countries across business, political, banking, and diplomacy. It specializes in structuring deals, mergers and acquisitions, debt reconstructing, and capital raising. It emphasizes in forming strategic partnerships with strong operators, committing to substantially aligned with the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. So they're working, they're aligning with the United Nations, right, on the, Sustainable Development Goals, and creating bespoke solutions, okay, for clients and partners. The firm positions itself as having expertise in high-level areas of diplomacy, legislation, and politics, though public information reveals little about specific clients' investments, portfolio, companies, or track record. Now, that's interesting because you're married to a member of Congress and you've got a venture capital fund that invests, that expertise in areas like diplomacy and legislation. Okay, I'm not going to say there's a conflict of interest there. I'm not. I see it that way. No, she's not the president. Yes, she is a member of Congress. Is there any information that she's giving her husband that he wouldn't normally have access to if she was not a member of Congress? I'm just saying. That's weird. So there appears to be some confusion in reporting with other entities like Rose Lake Inc. Okay, we won't get into that. But it was founded in 2022, shortly after Minette reportedly left earlier ventures like E Street Ventures, a prior political venture firm with Hollier. And leadership, Minette served as president and co-founder. Hollier is also co-founder and a key figure. So they kind of followed each other. Right. The website previously listed additional officers and advisors, but reports from late 2025 indicate these names and bios were quietly removed between September and October of 2020. Why are you removing people? What were y'all ashamed of? What's going on? And the time of federal charges in Minnesota welfare fraud cases. Oh, that's what was happening. But why were you removing people? If they have nothing to hide. And Cutie on Duty says bespoke means something is custom made or made to order for a specific person or purpose, going beyond standard sizes, patterns to fit exact specifications. Yeah, but I want to say bespoke might stand for something else under the United Nations. I think they use it in a different way. I think it's used for people, but I'll have to look that up in a minute. But thank you, Cutie on Duty, for giving me that info. Let's see. Financial valuations. Congressional Financial Disclosure. It was valued at 1 to 1,000 in 2023 with income reported 15 to 50 in prior years. Then it surged dramatically to $5 million to $25 million in 24. Wow, that's a good return. I'm just saying. But you have that. You've got people that you're taking off of the website. And again, like I said, it kind of runs in a conflict of interest because you've got a member of Congress married to somebody saying, hey, we can help with legislation. I'm just saying it looks really, there's a lot to answer for. So, yeah, that's where a lot of the money came from. And that's, in my opinion, that's where they need to start their investigations if we're going to really investigate anything. I definitely appreciate the work Benny Johnson did, because I was like, okay, you've kind of kicked this off. But now we need to look at what's happening with roselakecap.com. We really do. We need to see what this is all about, because that's where the bulk of the money is coming from. It's not coming from the fake winery, right? And here is Rose Lake. Here's the website, unparalleled. 60, they got all these things that they're doing. This is so basic. This looks like something you can build in Canva. I'm just saying. I like building websites. Let's see wait a minute. Wait a minute. None of these things are clickable. Wait a minute. Y'all on LinkedIn? You're on LinkedIn and y'all, they made $25 million. Up to. That's what the disclosure said. It said $5 million to $25 million. I'm on the website. It says Rose Lake is focused on unique opportunities where our expertise can create bespoke solutions for our clients and partners. Okay, so I get it. Thank you, cutie. I get it. I get it. Custom made. Custom made to order specific persons or purposes. Gotcha. So our team of world-class experts harness their combined um, centuries. Okay. Their combined centuries of experience and deep global networks built from on the ground network to in more than 80 countries, working across businesses, politics, banking, and diplomacy. Our expertise includes structuring deals, merging and acquisitions, debt reconstruction, and capital raising, from distressed assets to buying publicly traded companies. Our team has the powers, prowess. Wait a minute. Our team has the pro prowess prowess to execute the right opportunities. I hadn't heard that word before. Okay, at Rose Lake, we tap into our extensive global network to create strategic partnerships to maximize the strength of the business we partner with. Okay, that's awesome. Where is everybody? There's nothing here. Okay, let's see where LinkedIn takes us, because my oh mm, okay, blank pages. Well, privacy and disclosures. Could we learn something from that? Okay, sometimes you can learn something in the privacy and disclosure. So at least you guys do have this part. I've worked in compliance, and so I always kind of look for that part. But it doesn't really give you, it says contact form, but you don't have a contact form on your website. So I don't know how I'm supposed to contact you. And you do not have, what I'm looking for is like, okay, here's the contact form. Sorry, I'm walking y'all through this. Oh, we couldn't find the page you were looking for. This is either because there's an error or the page you were looking for has been removed or deleted. So y'all have made $25 million and the website's not even functioning. Like, how are you making all this money? What? Okay. Okay, I gotta show this one. Cutie on Duty says, empty website, empty winery, empty healthcare facilities, and empty daycares, and zero arrests. That's the part. It's that part. Look, if we don't start seeing people go to jail, you're all a part of it. You're all a part of it. That's all I got to say. Every single one of you is guilty. If we do not see some people in handcuffs, like today, this is crazy. This is it's getting to the point where it's not like it's uncomfortable. It's just unreal that people are getting away with this level of criminality and sitting back like, nothing to see here. There's nothing wrong. Oh, keep it moving. Yeah, everything will be okay. People are tired of that. Just telling you. I'm just saying. It's getting old. But I wanted to get into an article from All Sides before I go into another subject matter. I might leave that subject matter for tomorrow. We'll see. It says exactly. No jail time equals collusion. It's crazy. It is insane. But I wanted to check out this article. It says Republican Chris Medell drops Minnesota gubernatorial race, cites Trump admin's immigration disaster. So he's upset about what's going on. And he's a Republican in Minnesota. So Republican Chris Medell withdrew from Minnesota's gubernatorial race on Monday, calling the Trump administration's immigration enforcement in the state an unmitigated disaster. It's not an unmitigated disaster, sir, because see, here's the thing. The governor and the mayor in particular They decided to release criminals back out into the general public when they had already been asked by ICE to detain these people so they could pick them up because it knew it would become a hazard if they were released. Now, if you remember, Tom Homan, even before President Trump was elected, stated, you need to at least work with us to detain these individuals so they are not any way in the public, because we do not want any fallout, and I'm paraphrasing, in the public. Tom Homan said this ad nauseum, to the point where like I said, I can literally paraphrase and repeat what he said because he said it that many times. And now you want to blame the Trump administration because things have gone wrong in your state. Thank you, sir, for dropping out of the race, because I know you don't have a pair. You do not have the stones to get the job done. So thank you for stepping down. I appreciate you. I respect it. I respect it. I don't respect the fact that you're blaming the Trump administration for this disaster that's happening. No, this is on the governor. This is on the mayor. Period. None of this had to happen. Those 3 people that passed away, the blood is on their hands. They were culpable in this. Period. Enough. Now, Medill's reasoning, I believe Minnesota has seriously lost its way, Medill said, citing 2 primary reasons for his withdrawal. First, he said, I cannot support the National Republican stated retribution on the citizens of our state, nor can I count myself a member of a party that would do so. I support the originally stated goals of immigration and customs enforcement operations, Metro Surge, in locating and deporting the worst of the worst in our state. No reasonable person should want those people here, and I am glad that they are gone. But Operation Metro Surge has expanded far beyond its stated focus on true public safety threats. Medill specifically referenced citizens of color who have expressed fears of deportation threats and targeting. His second reason for dropping the race was the National Republicans have made it nearly impossible for a Republican to win in a statewide election in Minnesota. You know, the problem is y'all sold out to the criminals in Minnesota. Don't blame this on the Republicans. Grow too. Sir, your stones, I need you to find them in the purse where they are located, because they're not attached to your body. They're not. Your state is a failed state. You sold out to criminals. You sold out to a people, okay, who have done nothing but fleece and rob the citizens of Minnesota. And you're going to stand there and be like, oh, they made it impossible. Yeah, I'm glad you stepped down. And don't come back. Don't come back. If you're politically homeless, please don't come to the Redemption Party. We do not want you. You are a failed politician. Why don't you run over to the Democratic Party? They will take you. They will always take you in. Because, see, they support degeneracy. They do. I don't want to hear it. There's a small subsection maybe of the party that actually still believes, who upholds the Constitution and law. There's a small segment of the party that does, but the rest of you, you have sold your soul completely to Satan, and we all see it. This is a spiritual battle. So, Mr. Medill, thank you for making your statements. Thank you for making yourself completely politically homeless. Yeah. So, additional comments. Medill criticized the Trump administration in saying weaponizing criminal investigations against political opponents is unconstitutional, regardless of who's in power. Sir, she's been under investigation since 23. The investigation is just ongoing. We're just now finding out about all the dirt that's been attached to it. Just ridiculous. Anyway, Republicans and Democrats alike have engaged in this misconduct, and both must be held to the same standard. However, he also praised the administration for actions such as enacting a ceasefire deal in Gaza. Medell called on Minnesotans to respect and thank state and local law enforcement officers who he described as being stuck in the middle of federal operations and local communities. He also said he would return all contributions to his campaign. Good. Because what you're not talking about is the rioters that are outside. What about the rioters, sir? Huh? Oh, we're not going to talk about that. They're rioting. They're not protesting. They're rioting. No, they're not burning down businesses, thank goodness. But when you are outside with psychological warfare, making noises so people can't sleep, harassing them, literally detaining other individuals on the street because they're driving a Suburban. Yes, there are videos out there like that. Your state is failed and crazy. Like Minnesota is literally on fire, not literally, but figuratively. It's failed. So obviously, thank you for stepping down because you can't do the job. Give back every single penny to everybody that ever supported you and don't show your face again. Figure it out. I'm just saying. Earlier this month, Medell controversially helped Jonathan Ross, the Immigrations and Customs Enforcement officer who fatally shot protester Renee Good in Minneapolis, obtain legal representation. Minnesota Governor Tim Walz dropped his reelection bid on January 5th amid widespread fraud uncovered in the state. The state's primary elections are scheduled for August 11, 2026. And this is how the media covered. Media on the left of the political spectrum highlighted this story, most prominently emphasizing areas of division among conservatives. I don't see anybody on the right that's covered it. Where's Fox News? Where y'all at? Where y'all at? Where you at? But I'm glad this person has stepped down. I'm just saying, grow a pair and don't call us. And this it's really unfortunate what happened to that gentleman. Okay. Is there anything else in here I wanted to talk about before I get to my next? Okay, so the border chief, Bob Bavino, he's just going back to California. Tom is going to Minnesota to wrap up this craziness. Now, they want Kristi Noem to be removed, but I'm all like this. You're harboring illegal aliens in your state. You've released them back out into the general public. You've allowed the public to literally harass federal agents. And it's her fault? I don't get that part. You want to blame her for the shootings. You want to blame her. But I get it. Everything goes back up to the top leadership. They're just trying to do their job. And you're making it impossible for them to do their job. But guess what? Guess where ICE is? Tennessee, Florida, Kentucky, Louisiana. We're not hearing about issues there. We're only hearing about Minnesota because they are literally harassing federal agents. What is wrong with Minnesota? It's Minnesota. And I need to know why Tim Walz is not in prison right now. I need to know why Mayor Fry is not in prison right now, because they are harboring illegal aliens. They are violating Title 8, Section 1324, period. They're in violation of it, but they're not in prison. They're still walking the planet like nothing's happened. Stop it. It's just really crazy to me. It really, really is crazy to me how this is still happening. So with that, I'm going to take a quick break because I've been talking a lot. Need a little bit of water. But yeah, I'm going to take a quick break and I will see you guys on the other side.
A life empowered is closer than you think. We're all looking for a better way. Reimagine what's next with a new sense of exuberance. Why not power on like you mean it? Or power off blissfully? A better sleep is a better awake. You've never moved like this before. With the energy nature intended. Imagine reprogramming the way you look at the speed of science. At longevity. At exhilaration. It's next level rejuvenation. Take your well-being from the inside out and outside in. The light within is ready to ignite. Be the light. LifeWave.
And we are back. Thank you so much for joining me here on Unfiltered Vision News, bringing you the news unfiltered Monday through Friday, 7 to 9 a.m. Eastern. My name is Dr. Ashaki Noni Nichols, and I will be your host. And so the next area I wanted to get into, you know what, I'm going to cover this first because I don't want to get too distracted down a rabbit hole that I know I can go down. Come on. Have you ever been to a website and you're like, I really don't want that pop-up? That's what happened. I was like, I'm not bringing it up because I don't want the pop-up. But I did want to bring this to you guys' attention. So apparently, yesterday, the president, he is got a executive order addressing state and local failures to rebuild Los Angeles after wildfire disasters. What? Oh my. Yes, it has been a year and there have only been 6 permits issued. Just horrible. Because remember, Karen Bass was like, oh, yeah, we'll make sure that people can rebuild, of course. Somebody else who needs to be in prison. You actually took taxpayer dollars, not federal dollars, taxpayer dollars, because people were afraid to go outside and you wanted to make sure that they had a roof over their heads and while you walk over veterans on the street who need housing. Yeah, California is a fire too. But we'll just leave that for another day. Now, so 1 year ago, the California state and Los Angeles city and county governments failed to contain wildfires that ravaged Los Angeles and consumed nearly 40,000 acres of homes and businesses. The state and local governments failed to engage in responsible forest management systems out of the misguided commitment to naturalist and climate policies, which increased the severity of the fires. They failed to maintain water distribution and reservoir systems so that these systems would be available and fully functional in case of emergency. They then failed to quickly communicate evacuation warnings and failed to act decisively or cohesively to contain the fire once it started burning. In fact, Mayor Karen Bass was not in Los Angeles to respond to the crisis because she was traveling abroad. Yeah, she was in Ghana. This marked one of the greatest failures of elected political leadership in American history, from enabling wildfires to failing to manage them. And it continues today with the abject failure to rebuild. Now I'm going to stop there. I will definitely link this in the repost of the show. But Benny Johnson, again, he posted a video of the reservoir because they were not allowed to physically go into the reservoir, so they used a drone. It's empty. This is the same reservoir that was supposed to be full during the fires. And they said it was full and it was empty. Yeah. So they have a lot of answering and explaining to do. But I think this executive order, what he's trying to do, so it is the policy of my administration that federally funded reconstruction projects for homes and businesses in the wildfire impacted neighborhoods of the Pacific Palisades and East Canyon areas proceed with the maximum speed consistent with public safety, and that federal assistance not be frustrated by unnecessary, duplicative, or obstructive permitting requirements that prevent families and businesses from rebuilding. So he's preempting state permitting obstacles. Secretary of Homeland Security, acting through the administrator of the Federal Emergency Management Agency and the Admission of Small Business Administration shall consider promulgating regulations to advance the policies of this order, in particular the administrator of SBA and the secretary through the administrator of FEMA shall consider promulgating. Okay, sorry for the word. Preempt state or local permitting processes and other similar pre-approval requirements that each agency has found to be unduly impeded the timely use of federal emergency relief funds by homeowners, businesses, or houses of worship in rebuilding such structures following a disaster. So basically, in essence, he's overriding what they have not been able to accomplish, which is helping people rebuild their homes. Because that's all people wanted to do, was rebuild their homes. They just want to go home. And some of those homes, depending on when they were purchased, obviously, if they purchased a home for let's say $80,000 in the 80s, it's going to be worth $3, $4, $5 million now. How are they going to rebuild that? Right? But Trump's taking out the red tape so these people can actually get back into their homes. Now, I don't run around with a Trump cape on. Yeah, he's number one. I'm not doing that. But I was saying he's at least fair, because he didn't have to think about these people in Los Angeles. He just could do what he wants to do and keep it moving. But it's been a year and nothing's been done. Nothing. 6 permits? Are you serious? There are squatters that they've got to remove. Like, there's so much stuff that these people have to deal with to get back to their homes. The governor abandoned them. He just wanted to buy up their land and give them nothing for it. The mayor, stop. She's not thinking about American citizens. she's just not doing that. So the purpose, it addresses perceived failures by California state and Los Angeles local governments in preventing, managing, right? We read through all of that. Criticizes, it aims to ensure swift use of federal disaster assistance, okay, without obstruction from the state and local permitting delays, right? Building or prior federal debris removal efforts. So people were trying to remove things, but they had to get permits to remove the things, and they weren't getting the permits to just remove the debris. Like, that's how much red tape they had to go through. And Karen Bass was like, there won't be any red tape. No, trust us. Mm-hmm. So it's described as one of the greatest failures in elected political leadership history. I just wanted to asked for a summary. So they're preempting that. They're expediting federal process, which is good. Legislative proposals, accountability, and audit. Okay, so FEMA to review and audit California's use of nearly $3 billion in unspent hazard mitigation grant program funds, determine misuse, and take actions like recouping funds or adding conditions. So they were given $3 billion. They hadn't done anything. And it does not create enforceable rights consistent with law and appropriations implementation costs borne by DHS. So, yeah, I mean, I'm really glad that they've put these measures in place, thank goodness, right, to help our fellow Americans with their housing. But, it's just sad that you have politicians that just don't care. But, President Trump is really trying to get the money back in the hands of the people that lost their homes. Some people lost relatives in their lives, and so they're trying to help rebuild those same homes. I mean, it's sad already what happened, but the insult to injury is that the governor and the mayor were obstructing people from rebuilding. That's the other harm that's been done in this situation. So now I wanted to shift gears and go back to something we covered a little bit yesterday, and that was the whole H-1B visa situation. So there's another reporter from InfoWars, and she's covering it from a little bit of a different angle. And so this is something we definitely need to stay aware of.
A&M has been spending a lot of money, a lot of cash on these H-1B visas. So joining me now to discuss the reporter who's behind all of this, please welcome to the show, Kellen Jones. He's been digging into all of this as their senior investigative reporter, and it's an honor to have him back on today's program. Kellen, I want to thank you for being here. I know you've been digging into the H-1B visa issue, and I know the governor is now responding to all of this. So break down your latest report.
Brianna, thank you so much for having me on again. It's wonderful to join all of you. This is a months-long battle that has finally culminated just this morning in a little bit of action. The battle started around Thanksgiving when I asked Texas A&M under a Texas Public Information Act request to give me the documents on how much they had spent hiring H-1B workers over the last 5 years. And 2 months went by and they hadn't handed over the record. Now, as a lot of your listeners will know, and as I'm sure you know, typically under the Texas Public Information Act, they're supposed to give up the records after 10 days. Well, 2 months go by, and finally I've had enough with Texas A&M, and we reported them to the attorneys general. That was the 22nd of this month, and then did a story that we'd reported Texas A&M to the attorneys general. And suddenly, then the documents materialize. Now, what we didn't know at that time is that the governor was looking into this issue, and he demanded the internal records from A&M as well. And we'll talk a little bit about how that ended later. When I got the documents from Texas A&M, what we found is that they spent $3.25 million over the last 5 years hiring H-1B workers, mostly according to national data from India and China, to come to Texas to do jobs. Now, what jobs were they doing? It wasn't the super high level, this is the Einstein of Calcutta or the Einstein of Beijing, and they're so important, we're going to bring them over on an H-1B visa and give them tenure right away because we have to have them right now. These were low-level, generally speaking, instructional roles. Many of them were for instructors or the types of professors that don't have tenure. And in some cases, we found that they were applying for communications manager jobs, graphic designer jobs. In several cases, we found that they were applying for software developers. And so I did a little digging, and I found the job descriptions to be a software developer at A&M. And you need a few years of experience in computer science and to have a computer science bachelor's degree. Brianna, 1 in 4 computer science majors at the time these applications were put in are unemployed or underemployed. Of course, underemployed means that you're working a job and you're totally overqualified for it. So 1 in 4 Americans either can't find a job in this line of work or is working a job they're overqualified for. And Texas A&M is spending $3.25 million to hire aliens to do those jobs, and they couldn't explain why. I asked the university, I asked the president of the university why they had spent this money and why they hadn't invested it in American students. Of course, Texas A&M and the Texas A&M system can hire and create anyone they want. They can identify talent in high schools and in their university system, and they can produce any expert. Yet they've chosen to hire alien labor. And it looks like they've hired about 650 H-1B workers over the last 5 years.
And the governor's now responding to all of this too. I think I've heard you say previously. What's the latest coming from the governor?
That's right. Thanks to the Texas Tribune, they gave us credit for setting all this into motion. The governor, according to Bullpen, it was reported this morning, is going to announce today a halt to the H-1B visas in the public sector. Apparently, since the reporting last week, there's been a review going on while he has battled with A&M for his own documents. And we're expecting today he's going to announce some halt, but we don't quite have all the details yet.
Yeah, well, that's fascinating. Hunter, you're a business owner. I mean, what do you think about all this?
Well, here's my issue, right? And obviously he knows exactly what he's talking about, and I commend him for the research and just what he's doing to expose this. The problem is when you look at the visa program in general, internationally, as a business owner, I want the most skilled, qualified people. Now, not to go off on a tangent, it's sad that we're not doing and investing in the American kind of first system. And that goes into rabbit holes we can go down with the problem with our education system and all of the other stuff. But the fact that they're abusing the system, once again, abusing the system. So my question is what other visas are they doing besides the H-1B? What other visas that we're not talking about or thinking about? That's what I want to know, because it's not just the H-1B visa. There's like a bunch of other visas as well.
Right.
So, you know, the problem is, and I don't know the real answer to this, but at what point are we following who's benefiting from getting the H-1B visa?
Right.
Because if they're just bringing people in and they're in these know-nothing jobs,
what's the benefit?
What's the benefit?
Where is the kickback? Where is the money?
Like, that's what I want to know, because if I'm trying to bring these people over and they're not qualified for the job and I'm just trying to what's the scam?
But if they're saying 1 in 4 computer programming majors, even out of Texas A&M, are unemployed, well, then it obviously isn't America that's going to benefit.
No. And by the way, you know, I didn't get an engineering degree, right? I got a bachelor's of liberal arts and studied, you know, political science and global finance, et cetera. And what I've never understood is we get these people over from China, and I went to an okay school, not now, but you know, okay. And here's the problem. The guys in like a CS50 class, which is like a computer science class, these guys are wicked smart, right? Yeah. Wicked smart. And you know, whether you look at the top engineering schools or whatever, you know, these people that they're bringing over, they're killing us.
Yeah. It's the controlled demolition of the United States of America, and it's been going on a long time. And a lot of this also has to do with I believe there's been an out-and-out war on young men in this country. So who are mostly computer majors? I would say probably young men. Our son is one. So to me, they need experience. They need those entry-level jobs, and they're not even being, you know, looked at for them, because these H-1B things, they are in the ads. They are only hiring that.
Yeah.
They're not saying if there's not enough Americans to fit these jobs, then we'll go to them. That's not what they're doing.
Well,
and that makes you question
the
benefits.
My big issue is with Vivek Ramaswamy, right? Because when you look at what he was talking about, and I won't go into his background, but you know, that remains for another conversation. And some adult beverages to go along with it, because that's what I need to be able to even talk about them, is all of the big tech, little tech people pushing this visa thing for people that are performing, right? You're hurting America by doing that. But what the corporation is doing, I want to put the business hat on for a second. The business hat is saying, where can I get the same level at a cheaper price? And if I can just bus them in from India, right, and have a bunch of Indians here, because it lowers my labor costs, right? It increases my profit margins. Of course, I'm going to push for that. And I'm going to find a way to abuse the system, because at the end of the day, it's always about the money.
Well, I actually want to ask Kellen, because I know your investigation's not stopping here. Are you looking into any other colleges in Texas right now?
Yes, we are. We've got an investigation going on with UT. We've got one going on with Tech. And we've got some investigations going on with local school districts as well. I'll be putting out a report in a few days that Dallas ISD has obtained about 1,200 approvals for H-1B workers over the last 5 years. And they spend a ton of money to execute that system. And there'll be some more details with that forthcoming. The point is that every university in Texas, just about, at least public universities, are using H-1B visas. And part of the reason for that is that there's a carve out in the federal law that there is not a cap on university hiring of H-1B visas like there is with the private sector. The private sector has to compete for about 85,000 visas. The public sector gets about as many as they want.
That is so crazy. That is so crazy. Kellen McGovern Jones, my friend, thank you for joining us again. You're doing an incredible job over at the Dallas Express. You're the senior investigative journalist. And folks, give him a follow on X as well. Cowtown Callers, where you could find him.
Yeah. So I wanted to, just bring that back up. Because I was like, what is going on with these H-1B visas? And so, I did a little bit more digging and grok because I was like, okay, all right, let's see what's going on. So, from some of the digging, no. Okay. And of course my phone rings. Of course my phone is ringing. During my show, people know I got a show to do. And it's kind of funny because my phone will sometimes go on do not disturb even when I don't want it to. And then it's like, oh, wow. Okay. Let's see. Let me make sure my microphone did not get hijacked during that little moment. Okay, good. Microphone's still good. I know. Sometimes it's like, okay. I told you I'm the only one here. Okay. The only one in the office. Technically, it's my office. I was just trying to do this. My goodness. Okay. So I wanted to bring it back around, and I wanted to really find out, like, how many of these visas do we have, right? These H-1Bs specifically. So apparently that 85,000 number that he mentioned, there are 85,000 new visas issued annually, 65,000 general and 20,000 for advanced degree holders. Okay. Now, there are also different ones. So workers can stay up to 6 years with extensions possible. And it's often a pathway to green cards, right? Which is the citizenship pathway via EB2 or EB3 categories. The program is administered by USCIS. And I like the Pause Act that Chip Roy introduced. And we need to shut all this down, every single bit of it. Everything. If there is a way for anybody to come here on this soil through any type of program, it needs to be shut down. Period. Shut it all down. Turn off the faucet. I do not care. Let them work remote from their country and still shut it down because you're not hiring American workers. But then again, our kids aren't even taught how to read. They're failing in the 3rd grade reading. And that, in my opinion, is on purpose. It's disgusting what's happening. Okay, but let me keep going. So the way it hurts Americans, right? The discussion highlights how Texas public entities like Texas A&M spent millions in taxpayer funds hiring H-1B workers for roles, right, that qualified Americans could fill, leading to local job displacement. Broader critiques substantiate this. Outsourcing firms, Infosys, and Tata Consultancy dominate approvals, often replacing U.S. workers with lower paid foreigners, depressing wages by 10 to 20% in affected sectors. Abuse includes body shops, chaining workers via low wages and poor conditions, while Americans face barriers like ageism or relocation. In Texas, this exacerbates unemployment among STEM graduates, with the freeze aimed at prioritizing locals. So it's really crazy. Now, how it helps Americans? Because I look at both sides. In genuine talent shortages, it bolsters innovation, economic growth, and competitiveness for U.S. firms like Google or Tesla in directly creating jobs. Studies show H-1B contributes to patent filings and GDP growth, benefiting society overall, though reforms could minimize harms. No, we are not benefiting because we are getting people from third world countries with their third world values and their third world lifestyle. Okay? You come with you. If we wanted to live in India, we'd move to India. We don't want India over here, but it's here. There are other countries. We don't want certain parts of y'all's countries over here because you don't know how to act. You really don't. So I said, can you list how many visas have been issued and how many applications have been filed for current visas? So this is where we are. Let's see, non-immigrant visas are temporary. So for the fiscal year 2023, they recorded 10.4 million non-immigrant visas. And the trends indicate continued increase into fiscal year 2024 with monthly breakdowns available from September updated. Okay. So applications filed, DOS tracks at the application level since 2019, but exact totals for 2024 are in the annual report. Okay. Now, H-1B specifically for the 2025 cap, USCIS received 470,000 registrations, and that was down 781,000 in the prior year, selecting 114 to 120 unique beneficiaries initially. Petitions approved vary, but historical approvals are in the 85,000 cap range. Okay, they have F1s, they have B1. So F1 is for a student, a B1 or B2, tourist, business, etc. Dominate volumes, but lack single aggregated filed numbers beyond workload reports. So let me see, immigrant visas, applications. And I say, can you outline the amount of visas issued for teachers? Because I came across some YouTube videos and I was like, well, what's a J1? What is this? It's almost like you just go down these rabbit holes. So apparently there's a J1 exchange visitor visa under the teacher category. Okay. Now for the teachers in 2022, there was a sharp increase, right? But we all know what was going on during that time of 4,067, a sharp increase of 467% from 719 in 2021. But we all know what was happening during that time. It was reflecting post-pandemic recovery and growing demand for teachers amid shortages. What happened to the teachers? Oh yeah, you fired the ones that didn't want to get injected, but then you hired ones that you refused to inject. And you replaced them with foreigners. Okay. So recent overall program data shows around 300,000 total J1 visas issued annually across all categories, students, au pairs, and researchers. But the teacher subcategory remains a small but growing portion, often in the low thousands per year. Historical trends indicate fluctuations. For example, numbers were lower during COVID restrictions, but rebounded strongly. So no strict annual cap exists for J1 teacher visas, unlike some other programs. Now, other visas occasionally used for K through 12 teachers include H-1B specialty occupation visa, okay, for roles requiring at least a bachelor's degree in a specific field, such as certain bilingual, special education, math, or science teaching positions. This is less common for standard K through 12 teaching due to annual caps, 65,000 general, 20,000 for U.S. Advanced degrees. Now, other less common options are rare EB2, EB3 immigrant visas, green cards for permanent employment, often after temporary work, part of broader employment based categories with annual limits around 40,000 for EB2 advanced degrees. Specialized visa like an O1, extraordinary ability, or others are possible, but not typically for most teachers. So these visas address teacher shortages in subjects like STEM, special education, and bilingual education, particularly in states like North Carolina. Historically high J1 use, over 4,800 from 2016 to 2023, Texas, Florida, and others. However, critics note potential impacts on U.S. teacher wages, employment, while supporters highlight filling critical gaps. Okay. It's really sad to me. So I said, have illiteracy rates increased or decreased since the amount of teaching visas have increased? And it says U.S. literacy rates, both adult and student reading proficiency, have decreased in recent years, particularly since around 2017 to 2019, with accelerated declines post 2020 due to the COVID-19 pandemic's disruptions, school closures, remote learning challenges. But that's when parents started learning what their kids were really learning or not learning, because their kids weren't reading at that time. I'm just saying. And it really opened up people's eyes to what their kids were learning or not learning. So these trends coincide with an increase in teaching visas, primarily J1 teacher visas, which rose sharply post-pandemic from 719 in 2021 to over 4,000 in 2022, and continued growth in subsequent years to address shortages. Why were there shortages? Oh, yeah, you had mass immigration. So we're importing teachers because of the mass immigration. Yeah. Yeah, that happened. I should say it's still happening. However, there is no direct evidence linking the rise of foreign teachers to causing a worsening literacy declines. Available research on immigration, foreign teachers generally show neutral to positive impacts on student achievement, with no broad negative correlation to literacy outcomes. So I'll put a pin in that, and I will definitely put that in the repost. But there is something I wanted to share with you guys. There are two videos that I came across, talking about how you have to be qualified to be a teacher. So I'm going to play one first, and then I'll play the other.
You have some teaching experience, but you are not currently teaching, you can... Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. And as promised, I was going to share with you 5 program sponsors that sponsor J1 visas with fees that are paid by the teachers. So I did mention earlier that some program sponsors, you only pay a minimal fee, but sometimes not everyone get through on those programs, and so we have to go another route where we have to pay to get on these J1 sponsors. I'm going to share these J1 sponsors with you today, but before that, please remember to hit that subscribe button and share this video with a friend or somebody you know is interested in international teaching. I will be sharing with you all that is needed to become an international teacher, and you don't want to miss it. So let's get straight into those 5 programs. So the first one is Amity. The Amity Institute is a non-profit organization that sponsors J1 visas to exchange teachers. It is sponsored by the U.S. Department of State, and they also offer programs for interns. So if you're a teacher studying, you might can do your internship there. If you go to the about section, you will see that this program has been around for almost 60 years, and you can check out things that would be suitable for you. In the admission requirements section, you will see that you first need a written formal job offer from a school district in the United States before you apply to Amity. You should hold a minimum of a degree that's equivalent to US. So basically, if you have a first degree in education in your home country, that can suffice if you go ahead and do your credential evaluation and it is
So I'll pause that there. So yes, there are companies facilitating this and helping people get from their home countries here. Now, I've heard of companies wanting English speaking humans to go teach English, proper English, and even we don't speak proper English in the United States. England is Cockney English is technically what they call the proper term. Ours is slang. But again, English speakers to go overseas to teach individuals proper English. They are literally hiring people from outside the United States to come here to teach our children. You don't want to pay the teachers here, but we're gonna pay money. I need to woosah for a second. Okay, now I'm gonna play the other video with a critique from someone who I don't want to say they're in that field, but they know somebody in that industry.
Popular opinion, being a native speaker does not make you an English teacher. If you've been learning English for a while and you can't see much progress, it really could be your teacher. About 5 minutes ago, I was talking to a girl from Ukraine and I said, right, I'm gonna go plan my lesson. And she said, oh, you're gonna plan? I think since leaving school, I haven't had a single English teacher who planned a lesson. And I think this is the problem with the English teaching industry now, is that there are just so many native English teachers who are so underqualified. I hope she doesn't mind me saying, but my best friend was a qualified English teacher for many years. She travelled all around the world teaching English in schools, in language institutes. Do you want to know what her qualification was? She paid $30 for an online qualification that genuinely took her a Sunday to complete. There are so many English teachers who don't correct you, they're afraid to correct you, they don't have a background in languages, so they wouldn't even know how to correct you. They don't plan anything, they just sit there and have a chat with you and call that a lesson. They have a degree in something completely unrelated to teaching or languages, but they are considered a qualified teacher because they're a native speaker. Can you relate? Let me know in the comment.
Yeah. Because see, what people don't realize is like, okay, I have a master's, okay, I have a doctorate. I could go to any school here in the state of Georgia and basically sign up to be a substitute teacher. I can be a sub in any classroom to teach children. Now, again, I'd be the substitute teacher, right? I would not be the formal teacher. But even if I did formal teaching, I do not necessarily have to have a degree for the teaching skill that I'm going for. You're just kind of assigned to whatever grade level you're going for. I'm just saying. But to her point, they're not bringing the best. She was talking to an English teacher and it's like, oh, you're putting together a lesson plan? It's like, well, yeah. And that's what the point she was trying to make. A lot of these English teachers out here, they're just out here to get paid. They are not out here to teach. And that explains why the literacy rates are low. Can you imagine being a young child and having a teacher who can barely speak English? That's your teacher. And you can speak English because you're learning it at your house. You live in an English-speaking country, but you have somebody here speaking broken English. And I had those teachers, by the way, growing up in a few of my classes. And I was like, how are you a teacher? You can barely speak the language. How did you get a degree to be up before me teaching? So this has been a long time issue in my opinion, in the teaching industry. It's another area where people are just collecting a paycheck, and it's showing. It's showing because it's trickling out. Now we have this whole H-1B situation where they're like, well, we just have to import people because we don't have the qualified people here. We do have the qualified people here. You just don't want to pay them. And you want to make it seem like it's their fault. Things need to change. We need better leadership, and we need better people in office. But before we go, I did want to bring up something to share with you guys. As you know, I take down my shows at the end of the day, usually about maybe 3 or 4. And so if you guys want to get the full episodes, I have an app called unfilteredvisionnews.com. It is a web-based app. As you can see on the screen, it's news through a Christian lens. And so you can subscribe here. Right now, we're running a special where you can, for a lifetime, you can get it for $1.99 a month, $20 a year. We still have about 95 spots remaining. So it's only going to go through the first 100 subscribers. And then after that, once we get through those first 100, it will actually go to $4.99 a month or $50 a year. And so it's got some good content on here. I will be producing other content that will not be posted live, right? We also have merch. You can get the album from Divine Echo Collective that I actually produced last year and dropped last September. So you can check that out. We also have, like I said, our faith merch here. We've got hats. We've got UVN hats for Unfiltered Vision News. If you guys would like to check those out, we got tumblers, mugs, sweatshirts, all the good stuff, shoes, and that does help to support the channel. I'm not necessarily a supplement person. Supplements. It's not that supplements scare me. It's just being a paralegal. And when people are taking and ingesting things, it's like, oh, to me, there's just a lot of legal liability. So if you get a messed up sweater, I can send you another sweater or a sweatshirt or a hat, right? If it's messed up, that's not a problem. But I really didn't want to go the supplement route. So I'd rather do the merch route. So I definitely wanted to let you guys check this out. The sweatshirts, I kind of dig the sweatshirts that are happening. This one's really cute. It's got UVN on the front, established 2025, because that's when I started this show. And there's also this view here where it says Unfiltered Vision News, Truth Over Narrative, and UVN in the center. So definitely check that out. That's unfilteredvisionnews.com, and I'll make sure to post that link when I repost a few clips of the show. So thank you guys for joining me here this morning on Unfiltered Vision News. We will see you guys tomorrow on Mighty Men Thursday, and it will be open mic. So if anyone would like to be on the show, you can send me an email at unfilteredvisionnews@gmail.com, and I will send you a link, or you can send me a message on X. So thanks again for joining me here on Unfiltered Vision News. And remember, stay well, stay focused, and stay unfiltered. I'll see you in the next one.